Lassiter Factor.
Happy Easter, all my movie-loving maniacs. This is your boy Bankful B of the Lassiter Factor, and today I'm going to talk about The Prince of Egypt, which at the time when I'm making this video, I rewatched this last night in honor of Easter. Plus, I figured, hey, I watched the musical version of this movie a little over a month ago, and with the passing of Val Kilmer, who plays the voice of Moses and God in this movie, I felt now is a fitting time to go back and rewatch this movie. But I'm not really going to thoroughly review this movie. I'm just going to give you my quick thoughts about this movie as to why I love this movie, why I think it's DreamWorks' best film, and five key things as to why this movie is great. But of course, you all know the plot of this movie. It's the story of Moses and the Ten Commandments. It's the book of Exodus from the Bible, though they do cut out the Ten Commandments portion of this story out of the movie, but it still makes for a good movie. In fact, it's just crazy watching this movie with adult eyes because I saw the text at the beginning of this movie basically saying like, hey, some artistic license had to be taken for this movie, but it still stays true to the essence of the story and everybody will still appreciate it. And of course, I have to mention that this was a childhood favorite of mine. I used to have this on VHS. I wore this tape out millions of times back in my youth. And of course, I as I grew into an adult, I appreciated this movie more that I went and bought it on Blu-ray. And anybody that knows me knows that The Lion King is my favorite animated movie of all time, but The Prince of Egypt is a close second because to me, this film is living proof that animation is cinema and is not just a genre for kids, but it is a medium that can be used to tell amazing stories such as this one right here. Though I will say it was a little bit weird going back to watch the animated movie after watching this because I ain't gonna lie, I've been listening to the soundtrack for the play for a little over a month now, and then of course going back to the animated movie and knowing a couple of songs were cut out, but I was still able to still appreciate the animated film. I feel like the play and the animated movie can both stand on their own. But I will say DreamWorks or Universal, whoever owns DreamWorks Animation, if you are planning or if the idea of a live action version of The Prince of Egypt is in the works, even though it's the story of Moses. This movie's been done to death multiple times. The Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston. But like I'm just saying, if the live action How to Train Your Dragon movie is successful enough that DreamWorks would want to warrant, hey, let's remake some of our other DreamWorks classic. I won't like it, but if you touch The Prince of Egypt, please take aspects from both the play and the movie. I think that's the best way you can go about making a live action version of The Prince of Egypt. But we're talking about the animated movie, so let me get into 5 reasons why this movie is great. Number 1, the voice cast. Now, before I get into the other cast, again, I gotta give glory to Val Kilmer. Rest in peace. And it was also a bit bittersweet watching the animated film because I was really listening and honing in on Val Kilmer's voiceover performance throughout this movie. And it really is amazing because you got to think he had to portray Moses through different phases of his life. First he was again, well, the titular Prince of Egypt in the beginning. He's naive. He was unaware of his true heritage, and then once those walls are broken down, he has an identity crisis. And then the middle half of the movie, he basically gets out of that depression, and then he meets God through the burning bush. And again, Val Kilmer also plays the voice of God through the burning bush, and is also just crazy because at this point Moses, he's a little bit more mature, he's at peace with himself, and then you could really tell the difference in the voice acting from Val Kilmer. When he plays the voice of God, he has a little bit more gravitas, which also works because, from what I understand, Val Kilmer does come from a theater background, so he was able to lend that theater background to both Moses and the voice of God. In the burning bush sequence, that is one of my favorite sequences from this movie. And then the final act of the movie, which is Moses returning to Egypt, demanding Ramesses to let his people go, that's when he really brings that gravitas to Moses. And of course, you also got Ray Fiennes, who plays the voice of Ramesses, Michelle Pfeiffer, who plays the voice of Zipporah, Sandra Bullock, who plays the voice of Miriam, his real sister, and then Jeff Goldblum, who plays the voice of Aaron, his real brother, Patrick Stewart, who plays the voice of Pharaoh Seti, and then Helen Mirren, who plays the voice of Moses' adopted mother. Steve Martin and Martin Short, who plays the voice of Hotep and Hoy, the High Priest. And then, of course, you got the, I'm blanking on her name right now, but you got the actress that plays the voice of Moses' real mother. Amazing voice. Rest in peace to her as well. Such an amazing voice cast you have right here, and they all did an excellent job at bringing these characters to life. Number two reason as to why The Prince of Egypt is great is the animation. I'm telling you, the rent was due when they made the animation for this film. It was a blend of both hand-drawn and computer animation, and just the sequence of the when Moses parted the Red Sea alone. That sequence alone is worth the price of admission. If they ever re-release this movie in theaters, I will just love just watching that on the big screen. Number three reason as to why The Prince of Egypt is great is the music. The rent was also due when they made the music, and not just the songs, but Hans Zimmer, who's one of my favorite composers for film. And I totally forgot that he made the score for this film, hence why he's probably one of my favorites, because he put his whole foot in the music in this. And of course, you got the songs. Of course, you got the opening sequence, Deliver Us. What a great opening song right there. That is one of the hardest openings I've ever seen in a movie. And then you got All I Ever Wanted, which is when Moses starts having that identity crisis. Then after that, when he goes to Meridian and Through Heaven's Eyes, one of my favorite songs from this. That song is to this movie what Hakuna Matata was in The Lion King. It was basically help get the main character out of whatever depression he was going through and move forward through life. And then later on, you got the High Priest song, the song that, hey, it doesn't bring the movie down for me, but it's the song you can honestly just skip. Then you got the Plagues song, which is when they go through all the 10 plagues, and that song had no business going as hard as it did, but it did. And then finally, When You Believe, one of the more heartwarming songs in this movie. And I'm telling you, I do love the play version of that one. The play version of that song damn near brought me to tears. And then you got the pop version of that song, which is sung by Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. Rest in peace. Number four reason as to why this movie is so good is this movie understood why the story of Moses is good. It didn't just focus on Moses, it focused on what this story was truly about, and that's about the brotherly aspect, Moses and Ramesses. This story at its core is about two brothers destined for different things, and it just tears them apart. And I like that the play version, it had a little bit more focus on that, and even if they do make a live action version of this movie, I hope they remember that. And the number five reason as to why The Prince of Egypt is so good is that for an animated kids movie, it's still a story from the Bible, so they treated the kids with respect that they deserve. This movie did not pull any punches. I'm telling you, I was watching this movie yesterday night at nighttime, and the scene where God goes through and kills all the firstborn, and then once he's finished doing the job, you can hear all the cries from all the Egyptians, and that was one of those spine-chilling scenes in the movie right there. The Prince of Egypt is truly one of DreamWorks' best. I almost said Pixar, but it's truly one of the DreamWorks' best. Yeah, some people say Shrek, and they're not wrong for feeling that way, but to me, this was what I thought DreamWorks was going to go for. They was going to make those movies that wasn't afraid to pull those punches that Disney, at times, was afraid to do. I thought this was going to be the counter-argument to what Disney was putting out at the time, and they did for a while, and then Shrek happened, and then DreamWorks changed their entire strategy. To me, The Prince of Egypt is a masterpiece in both animated movies and movies in general. And that's why I give The Prince of Egypt the hands up emoji, because it is abso-freaking-lutely a masterpiece. But that's it for the day. Have you seen The Prince of Egypt? Do you think it's DreamWorks' best film? If not, what do you think is DreamWorks' best film? Let me know in the comment section below. This is your boy Thankful B of the Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands, and have a safe and blessed Easter Sunday. Peace.